Hey fam, welcome to Ife Chronicles. Today I'll be giving you the inside scoop, the inside tips and tricks and skills you need on how to become a successful brand manager. Whether you're pivoting from sales, marketing, or a different field, like your homegirl. I studied biochemistry and I am a brand manager today. So if that's what you want, please stay tuned to the end of this video. Thank you. The first skill you need to become a successful brand manager is strategic thinking and vision. Strategy is about seeing beyond today's campaign. As a brand manager, you map out where your brand should go in the next 3 to 5 years and the steps to get there. Why does this matter? Without strategy, you're basically just throwing campaigns into the air and hoping one sticks, which is very chaotic and it's not brand management. Okay, I'm going to reference a global brand, its campaign, Just Do It, in 1988. It wasn't just a tagline, in all honesty. It was a strategic decision to position the brand as a mindset and not just a sports chair. That vision made Nike a cultural icon decades later. So someone would ask me, how do you build strategic thinking? That can only be done by reading global market trend reports. So when you talk of Nielsen, McKinsey, Euromonitor, and to practice scenarios, in the sense that you could ask, how could AI, sustainability, or shifting consumer habits shape my category in the next 5 years? So such questions make you think and open your horizon on what could be the likely solutions or how consumers actually reason. The second skill that you need to be a successful brand manager is creativity and storytelling. Creativity in brand management isn't just about making things look nice. It's about telling stories that connect emotionally. People don't just buy products. To be honest, they buy feelings. And if your brand doesn't make people feel something, and the truth is, you would be forgotten. That's why people tend to forget certain brands. Give, for instance, Nokia. They refused to evolve, and people eventually moved on to other brands. Then another example is Apple. They launched a campaign, and this campaign wasn't just about computers. It was about making people feel like rebels, feel like innovators, and that's why Apple fans are so loyal. How can you practice this? Next time you see a boring product, be it rice, be it soup, I think you should challenge yourself. How can I tell a story that makes this product really emotional? Instead of saying you just want to sell the product attributes. So you have to think about selling the product emotionally to your consumers. The third skill that you need to be a successful brand manager is analytical and data skill. This skill is very important. This is about looking at numbers. You have to be a friend of numbers to make decisions. Data tells you if your campaign is going to work or not. Without data, you will spend money blindly. And in all honesty, vibes don't pay bills. That's why you need to have data analytics skills to be able to understand what would work for your brand and what would not, and which would also translate to ROI, which is return on investment. Every brand needs to have a return on investment. Example, I've been given examples so far, is Spotify Wrapped. They took boring user data and turned it into a viral campaign people wait for every year. So I would say that data gives insights to things and how you need to pivot as a brand. It tells an historic trend that you have to follow or you should pay attention to based on what your competitors are doing or what the market trend speaks. And how do you practice this tool? It's to learn tools like Google Analytics, Excel. It is very important to know your Excel. Don't just look at likes and comments on your Instagram and Facebook and all that. No, you need data. The data analytics behind such posts, behind such trends, you need to look at that to make informed decisions for your brand. The fourth skill that you need is consumer and market insight. Insight is the ha-ha moment. It's about understanding what your consumers really want and not just about what they're saying. Consumers don't just buy products. In all honesty, they buy lifestyle. How to practice the skill? Talk to your consumers, ask questions, observe. The best ideas most times often come from listening to people that complain or dream out loud. Take note. So the fifth skill that you actually need to be a successful brand manager is leadership and team management. You are the captain of the ship. You don't do everything yourself, but you make sure everyone is moving in the same direction, which is what matters. A campaign can flop, if the sales team isn't pushing it into the stores, no matter how good the ad is. That's why you need all stakeholders. And in actual truth, you need to know how to manage different departments, which includes sales, supply chain, manufacturing, production. Everybody has a role to play in you being a successful brand manager. And in actual truth, even finance. How can I skip finance? They are critical in you becoming a good leader. So you need to have everybody together. And most times, for a campaign to be successful, all departments have different roles to play. Production in terms of packaging materials, finance in terms of return on investment, and the budget analytics, which you would do in order to prove to the management that this particular campaign is going to give you massive return on investment, or if it's going to probably be you pouring water forward in order to step on wet ground, like Yorubas will say. So in all, you actually need all departments to play a major role in becoming a successful brand manager. Okay, let's give for example Unilever. Unilever runs a campaign across, for instance, 100 plus countries, but they only work because marketing, sales, supply chain, retail, and distribution are aligned. They have to be aligned, and that's the only way campaigns can be successful. How can this come to play? It starts very small. Lead group projects, delegate tasks, practice motivating people without being bossy. Leadership grows with certain experience. And in actual truth, speaking from experience, there are times when I want to run a campaign and I speak with the head of sales about this campaign. And in actual truth, he probably doesn't see it as being a fruitful ordeal, but you just have to prove yourself and prove why the campaign is going to work. And you have to lead him. Though he's a leader, he's a strategic manager, but you have to prove your point in actual sense. And it's not just about talking, it's about numbers speaking. That's why I talked about analytical skill. You need to know your numbers. Once you know your numbers and you can prove that the campaign is going to be a success with your numbers, everything works out well. So everybody has a certain role to play, in all honesty. The next skill that you need is communication and presentation skill. Oh my God, this is very important. And I think currently I can say it proudly that I am good with presentations because I worked on that skill. I was never this great, in all honesty. When I started on my career, fresh out of uni, a biochemistry graduate, doing PowerPoint wasn't my strong foot. But I worked on it. I worked on the skill. And today I can say it's anywhere. I can stand before anyone. I can do any level of PowerPoint presentation, in all honesty. And I think my colleagues can testify to this. The best ideas can die if you do not explain it well, if you do not explain it clearly. And that is just the honest truth. You have an idea, you can't present it well, you don't know how to make it look visually appealing. The idea is dead upon arrival because that's what people are looking at. People are looking at the idea. They want to see how it's going to materialize or how it's going to manifest, which then brings me to you having strong communication and presentation skills. You should work on how you speak. You should work on your presentation skill so that any room you enter, you can be able to defend your ideas in the best way and people do not even need to ask you so much questions. Secrets, once your presentation is good, the questions are always minimal in the boardroom. Trust me. So the seventh skill is agility and problem solving. Agility is about adjusting quickly to when things go wrong. And trust me, things will go wrong. In the marketing world, it is an inevitable. It has to happen. But agility is about thinking on your feet and seeing how to swiftly work around problems and issues. In actual truth, if you panic when a competitor beats you to the market, your brand dies and you won't be able to think on ways to recover or able to sustain your market trends. Okay, if for instance, Zoom during COVID, they didn't just plan to be number one tool for remote work, but when the world shifted, they adapted and they won big time. And that is how marketing is supposed to be. You're supposed to see how to adapt. And trust me, the world is dynamic. Or should I say the marketing field is really dynamic. It changes and it's fast-paced. Consumers, they move. They say consumers aren't loyal. And in all honesty, don't give your consumers an opportunity to try your competitors because once you lose them, you might never regain them, and that's just the truth. So the number 8 skill that you need is financial and commercial acumen. Oh my God, someone will say too much grammar. But you need to understand the business side of things. You need to understand profits, pricing, and budgeting. These 3 things are key. And to be a successful brand manager, you must understand how they work individually or how they work in unison. Because marketing isn't just about creativity, it is about money. And if your campaign doesn't bring you revenue, in honest truth, it will not last. Give, for instance, P&G. I'm mentioning global brands so that you can get a better understanding of it. P&G ties every campaign to sales growth, which is how we should be. Although there are exceptions on certain campaigns that probably do not generate instant return on investment, but future return on investment. So that's why you need to understand how profit, pricing, and budgeting works. And the truth is, that's how global brands become powerhouses. You just need to tie every campaign to sales growth. And some will tell me, how can I practice this? The truth is, you have to start small. Learn how to calculate return on investment. Understand the profit and loss of your brand, how it works. What fits your brand into being profitable? What fits your brand into being at a loss? So you need to understand what thin line you have to be on to be able to decipher if you are going to make a profit or you are going to make a loss. And the truth is, finance and marketing managers are always at loggerheads because we spend money. And finance will tell us you can't just spend money. You need to generate revenue for us. And that's why ROI is very important for your brand. And trust me, if you do not generate revenue for the brand could get delisted. Many things could go wrong with the brand. So it's very important for you to understand how business actually works, which is pricing, profit, and budgeting. You need to know how these three things work. So please, for non-finance majors, you need to learn how this works. You need to know your numbers. I actually do not like numbers, but because of my job, I needed to learn what it entails. And that's it, guys. These are the 8 core skills every brand manager needs. Okay, to recap, you need strategy, you need creativity, you need analytic skills, you need consumer insight, you need leadership skills, you need communication, and you need agility. And lastly, you need financial acumen, which is very important. And if you're coming from a totally different background like I did, from biochemistry, calm down, don't worry. You can build the skills. It's going to be a step-by-step thing and it's going to be a journey. So watch out for my future videos because I'm going to give you tips and tricks on how to acquire all these skills and be the best manager there is for any brand out there. And on that note, please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. Please comment. Let me hear your views on this. And that will be all, guys. Bye.